Yeah, basically, the major program we are doing in India and in South Asia, I must say here, is how we can help. We're talking about climate change. Yes, of course, climate is changing, but the climate is not settled down. I mean, it will take more time to settle down. We don't know about what climate trend will be there. This is what we call climate variation here, basically. So sometimes there is more rainfall in one part of the country here. Sometimes there is drought in the same part of the country here. Sometimes the temperature go very high in month of March, or sometimes the temperature is, I mean, not stable here. So in that context, the small and marginal farmers of India or South Asia are starting facing problem about the kind of varieties they are growing for the production here. So Bioversity International want to start a program on what they call seed for the need in terms of climate change adaptation here. And we want to promote the concept of base broadening of farming system. So if the farmers grow only one or two variety of say wheat or rice here, then due to climate variation they may have problem in terms of their yield stability. So that's why our major concept here. So how we can go and improve the farmers' availability of the different kind of seed in the here.
How many varieties of rice and wheat are there?
Oh, if you talk about in India, so far I think there are more than about 560 varieties of rice and wheat has been released since 1960 after the Green Revolution here. And these varieties are released for different agroclimatic zones of India for cultivation. But many of these varieties are obsolete varieties now because the new varieties coming in the public system here, the old variety get obsolete here. So this is our one of the objective here. Can we again try to see the old varieties which were doing well in something like 70s, 80s here and now no more grown by farmers here, maybe they do better in the climate change. And this is one thing we have taken some trials with farmers here in India, where we try to get the varieties which were released in 70s, 80s, 90s, and also for different agroclimatic zones, and make a pool trial and test on farmers here. And for that, basically, we are now trying to do our research on farmers' field, not on the experimentation here. We are directly working with farmers and try to set up a farmers network for experimentation testing here.
So clearly, diversification is important to make farmers more resilient. Are there certain strains of rice and wheat that can cope in different conditions? So are there strains of rice that can cope in drier conditions and others that can thrive in wetter conditions?
Yes, of course, yes. I mean, from one of the trial we had last year, what we did here, we take a pool of different varieties of 22 different varieties or local genotypes of wheat varieties here, and those varieties were grown with 30 farmers in 3 villages in Vaishali district of Bihar here. And once we grown the variety, to our surprise, almost all varieties were doing much better than the recommended variety farmers are growing. So farmers are very happy. And out of these 22 varieties, I mean 5-6 varieties were excellent here. And almost all farmers are now want to try and test those varieties into next coming season here. Same thing for the rice also. We give the farmers 14 different varieties. And I was told yesterday only one of the varieties what we call MTU 1001 is doing exceedingly well. Farmers are so happy to see the performance of the variety. Maybe many farmers will come forward to try to teach the material in future here.
Remind people of the projections, the potential scenarios that India could face in the changing climate. Is India going to become a drier country, or are you going to be subjected to heavy rains and then heavy droughts? Give us an idea of what the potential scenarios are.
Yeah, if you go with the IPCC forecast here, because IPCC has given the global scenario about the climate change in 2050 or 2070 here, it appears that most of the northern part of India will be more warmer here. The temperature will go from 2 to 7 degrees centigrade in coming 50 years. So, and then if we talk about the rainfall variation here, some part will be more better, some part will more drier. So most probably the western part of India will be more better compared to other part of India. So Biodiversity also did some study here to see the what were the crops the farmers grow will be suitable for the future climate or not here. And most of the part of the country, I may say about 65 to 70% part will the crop presently grown may not be suitable for the same crop here. So the problem is that either farmer has to shift to the new crop cultivation, or we have to do something to give them some new varieties which can be adjusted to the new climate change here.
and I'm absolutely no expert, but I imagine it's hard to convince farmers, particularly ones who are, work in very traditional farms and have been over generations have been working in the same piece of land, to convince them that they may need to change, and they may need to change growing other forms of fruit or vegetables or rice in order to survive.
Sorry, can you just repeat your question?
Well, is it difficult to convince farmers to change and to plant different types of produce?
Yeah, certainly with the change climate, if farmer has to change the cropping system here, it's difficult, hard to farmer to adjust here. There are two reasons for that here. First thing, these foods the farmers grow is there for local household consumption, for their own food sustainability, and this is become a food habit of the farmers and communities there. So they will not have to change the food habits. It's difficult to change food habits. So therefore, we have to see that the farmers continue to grow the same crop here. And second thing, if they change the cropping system, then they have to learn a lot about the new crop growing here. And in that context, I talk about the CCOP program here. CCOP has developed a new tools, what we call climate analog, which will try to help match of the current climate with the future climate here. And then we can try to see in this program here how we can help farmers to see where you have the future climate and what kind of cropping system is there here. So yeah, of course, I mean farmers will have hard time with the climate change to change the cropping system.
A final question. Obviously, demand for all of these crops is driven by consumption. Further down the line, I know it's hard to predict, but do you think that people will have to change what they eat? Do you think that people in the south of India will eat different food to the north, and maybe people in the west will eat different food to the east?
It's tough really, because changing food habit. Now you see again. Now I am from Rajasthan, and the pearl millet, the particular bajra locally, is the traditional food of Rajasthan. But with the change, I mean, of course, I mean, with the change in the new generation, nobody like to eat the pearl millet or sorghum here. They all want to eat rice and wheat here. So of course, yes, it's possible. I mean, with the change in the food, climate change, and also in the social and culture aspect is very important. New generation is more going to fast food here. So maybe they like to have more of the potato product here, chips here, or maybe maize here. So it all depends on the social culture and impact and how the society grow in future here. But yes, of course, if the change in the food habit here and the corresponding crops cannot be produced in the country, I mean the country lot of problem for the import of the food from other countries here, and that have lot of financial impact on the country economy.
A final question. As countries become more industrialized and developed and people become richer, research shows that they tend to eat higher protein diets. So they will eat more meat, they will eat more chicken, pork. I know in India we don't eat beef, but is that something that is concerning for India's future in terms of the amount of protein people will want to eat and the amount the country will be able to produce?
In terms of the nutrition, what we call about nutrition security here, yeah, of course, India is largely is a vegetarian country here, and I'm seeing many people who are non-vegetarian in India, they are converted vegetarian here. Not from India, even other part of the world here. They when they come to India, they love to have the vegetarian food here. So I think, and then we have a lot of diversity in the climate here, and all kind of crops and fruits can be produced in India. I don't think any problem with the change of climate also. We have this kind of problem for production of food, for the nutritional security also.